working. Hello, everyone. I've never had such a big picture of me up ever, and I'm finding it a little unnerving, so let's move on. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be in front of the biggest screen I've ever stood in front of, quite honestly. And it's lovely to see you all here. Thank you for coming. So I'm aware that English is my first language, even though my French is not that terrible, but I'm not willing to do it in French. Whose first language is English? Just Erin. Okay, couple. So we've got an expression in England, which maybe you know, which is necessity is the mother of invention. And what that means is that, if we need it enough, we will invent it. We will find a solution to the problem. But I'm here today to hopefully convince you all that, in fact, it's not necessity, but in fact, diversity that is the mother of invention. So just a little bit about me. My name's Melanie. I've worked in supply chain for 25 years now, which makes me feel extremely old, honestly. I never imagined being this old. And worked in supply chain. I did a lot. If you'd asked me about 3 years ago, I'd have said, hey, yeah, I do complex problem solving. You've got a problem that off-the-shelf software can't fix? Bring it to me. My happy place is a big whiteboard, lots of colored pens, and a complex problem to solve. And I'm just so happy. That's my place. But you can imagine, I'm a hardcore nerd. My entire career, I was pretty much the only woman in the room, the only woman in the team, the only woman in the boardroom. And anyone who's an only, if you're the only person, the only woman, or the only person of that faith, or the only person of that race, whatever it is, it's a hard place to be. So when I got the opportunity to work for Boom, which is a global community for women in supply chain, I was like, yes, let me go and support the other women coming up behind me, because there was nobody, as far as I knew, there was nobody in front of me. I've since found out there were some women in front of me, but I never met them. And so that's why I'm here, and I've just been doing research into this, and it's fascinating. So let me take you through the journey. So Boom, very briefly, I promise I won't spend too much time on this, but we're a global community. It's online. We have over 1,000 members in more than 50 countries around the world. And it doesn't matter which function you're in, all functions across all industries. At the bottom, you can see some of the companies that have invested in their women because they say, no, we understand that there are extra biases that you're working against. So membership with us brings you so much content and networking just to elevate you, to inspire you, and to support you in your career. So I'm in this really odd space. I'm sitting between supply chain. I've got the hardcore nerd bit and the overlaid with diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's really interesting intersect. But this is a sustainability stream. So what on earth am I talking about? So let's get on. It's not working. Okay, great. So sustainability and supply chain. If I hadn't got into D&I would have been doing sustainability. I did an 8-week course at Cambridge University, which if anyone wants to do one, I highly recommend that one. It's all online and it's really excellent. And the World Economic Forum has said that 8 supply chains are responsible for 50% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So it's just 8. So it's automotive, construction, technology, fashion, FMCG, food, freight, and professional services. That puts us in such a position of power. We can really bring about difference in supply chain because there's just so much potential to make change. And it's exciting and it's a great opportunity. And you said, okay, Melanie, you're talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. We're talking about sustainability. So why? Where does it come? And this is where I'm going to reference UN Women. And the climate crisis is not gender neutral. It's really not. And I'm sorry, this is a pretty grim slide. So, strap in. I'm going to get us through it fast. But it's really awful. So when you're doing the work in supply chain, it's bigger than you think. You're helping the people who are really having the toughest time. So in countries where there's drought, that means generally in many countries, women have a disproportionate responsibility for food, water, fuel. And when there's a drought, there's a scarcity of these things. So girls are pulled out of school to go and help their mothers do it. Conflict, the climate crisis exacerbates economic, social, political situations, making just conflict much, well, more likely, and in that, more women are killed. More women, yeah, it's pretty, there's more gender violence. It's pretty damn grim, honestly. In a disaster, women generally have less access to resources like mobility and information, so women are less likely to survive a disaster, and if they do survive, they're less able to access help afterwards. I told you, it's not fun, is it? And the maternal and neonatal outcomes, just again, less access to healthcare, and higher temperatures are linked to stillbirths. Increase in malaria and dengue fever is also very negative outcomes for mothers and their kids. So it's pretty damn depressing. So we need to do something. We really need to go out there and bring about change. So, how are we going to do it? We've already hit the 1.5 degrees we weren't supposed to get about. It's going up. It's not good news. We desperately need innovation. We need big ideas that are going to bring about change, like Magnus was talking about. We need to just completely think outside the box and do something amazing and radical. And we need innovation to do that. And this is where all the pieces of my jigsaw puzzle kind of come together. So let's have a bit of fun now. I'm going to ask this to be interactive, all right? How interactive are you feeling post-lunch? People are laughing. Do we need to do some exercises? Don't make me do that. No, that's what I thought. Okay, good. None of us want to do that. But I do need you to engage because they said, oh, do a round table. We can have a discussion. This is not so conducive to a round table environment, but I am going to need you to all engage, please. So, I've got a game for you all. Right, I've got a list, and when you think one of them is true, I want you to put your hand in the air and sort of wave at me. Okay? Simple? So, which of the following are the benefits of a diverse, inclusive, and equitable workplace? Got it? That's the game. All you have to say, if it's true, stick your hand in the air. So, number one. So, if a company says, hey, we're really into social justice, and they make a big splash about it and say, we are doing these things, and they let the public know, they let their employees know, do you think there's increased employee productivity, engagement, and commitment? If yes, stick your hand. You're ahead of me most. Okay. Good work. 2, if you've got a really diverse executive board, in terms of at least visual, so ethnicity and gender, do you think that you get improved consumer perception of your organization and product? Some nodding there, I like it. Thank you. Do you think diversity of thought brings faster, better decision making? Okay, you're getting your exercise in. Companies with more diverse executive boards, do they perform better than companies with less diverse executive board? Yeah. I was like, yeah, Mel, we've got it. Okay, who's all for number 7? And you're absolutely right. This is what blows my mind, right? Sorry, I'm probably going to get too overexcited. This blows my mind. The business case. So I've spent. Yes, hello. Oh, which one don't you agree with? Well, take it up with the academics. Sorry. There's a lot of I've got this from various papers, and I'm happy to share them with you. But this all comes from multiple peer-reviewed academic papers saying this is what we're seeing, and there's so much. When I started doing the research, because I'm a happy academic as well. Honestly, it's a tsunami of research showing all of this, and I was like, why did nobody ever tell me? Why? It's like if you're not swayed by the moral, hey, everybody should have an equal chance argument. If anyone said, hey, we've got a bit of software that does this, it would be splashed all over the cover of every single supply chain magazine. Forget AI. I mean, hell, have a look at this. And you don't have to change that much. You just need to kind of change the way you think. And we're going to be talking about that, and that's what I want to get your input in on in a bit. But all of this brings about change. So, where we know we want to get there because it's the right thing to do, and if that's not enough, all of these great benefits of a diverse, equitable workplace. But where are we at the moment? Now, to your point, there's not much data out there. There's not much data talking about diversity in supply chain worldwide. So it's really hard to get data. What data there is from the awesome Gartner report. Does anyone know that one? Yeah, a few nods. It should be coming out later. Again, the latest one should be out, I think, this month or next. And it's not great data. It's done by Gartner, and it's most of their companies. So they're big multinationals. It's US-centric, but it's the only data we've got. So this is what I'm going to be talking about. I mean, you've probably all been, as I've been chatting away, you've probably been looking at this. So in that first tranche, that's the broken rung right there. We're already fewer women at managerial level. That's what they say when they say the broken rung. You can't get on the ladder because it's harder to get on because there are fewer women get on. And as you move up through the hierarchy, it's just going down as well. And they do also get the data for women of colour. Women of colour make up about 20% of the population in the US. So based against that, you can see it's not great. And they didn't even have a figure here. My guess is it was 0. But it wasn't, not in the report. So it's not a great picture, but I think that's much more positive than it probably is worldwide. And if we look at the number of women in supply chain, again, there are many areas of diversity. There is lots of intersectionality. So that means you can be a woman, but you can also be a woman of color, or you could be a man of color in a white, and So there are all those different ways to look at it. But it's going up. There was a blip. 2021, can anyone take a guess as to why it blipped in 21, 22, went down? COVID, yeah. Women, disproportionate amount of caring, it was just too much. We dropped up, but it's picking up again, and I'm really curious to see what next month, in the next month, what the data's been like for the last year. So it is at least going up. It's going up so slowly, but it's going up. And why is it going up? It's because there is more awareness of it now. There is awareness going, hey, diversity of thought's a good thing, so what can we do? So we're kind of seeing it as an iceberg. It's a nice metaphor here. There's the stuff you can see above the waterline. You can all read. It's those things that we talk about a bit more. But it's the stuff below the waterline, which is more insidious, that it's much harder to quantify and to make the change. It's like for me, there were no role models as I was growing up in supply chain. Lack of perceived transparency, and the big one, which is around culture. If it's a culture that embraces and celebrates diversity, equity, inclusion, and makes it a place where you feel like you really belong and you can be your full self at work, that can be working against you. So, I'm going to make you do some work, everyone. I'd love to know, what, in your experience, are the biggest barriers to creating diverse, equitable supply chain teams where everyone feels included, where they feel belong, where they don't have to hide part of themselves when they come into work, or as I used to do, kind of bend myself into a pretzel so that hopefully I could fit in, but I never quite did. And now I'm like, forget it, I'm never going to fit in, it's fine. I'll find my own way, I'll find my own niche. So what are the biggest barriers to creating that environment? Be brave, my people. Culture, behavior of men, and possibly women.
Yeah, also.
Yeah, I like it. Anybody else? Management walking the talk as well as talking the talk. Yeah, I like it. Hello. Education, can you expand on that for me?
Going into schools and universities, starting women training women.
Yeah, and all minority groups. Get those role models out there in front, go and, get people of colour out there and just get a whole range. Everybody's welcome. Please, I often do this and I work in inclusion. Every single person in this room is welcome, wherever you are. And I think that's a really important thing. This is not about women versus men. It's just we're all in this together and everybody is welcome and everyone has a voice to share. So anyone else have anything they want to add to this one? Yes?
Lack of interpersonal skills.
Yeah, do you want to say why?
Could be less empathetic towards somebody's situations. Also thinking sometimes pretty highly about yourself and not thinking there could be different situation with somebody else and giving equal chances.
Yeah, I love it. And we talk about empathetic leaders quite a lot or compassionate leadership quite a lot at Boom, because particularly during COVID, it was just like, you needed to be a compassionate leader. You needed to recognise that everybody was having a really tough time because it was really, really hard. Anybody else? Yes?
Lack of existing role models, like we're building them, but they weren't there.
They weren't. No, there was no one for me. Sorry, I keep bringing it back to me. No, that's a great one, and I really like it. Did you have a role model? Do you have one?
Yeah, I'm having more female role models. They used to be male. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've had some role models. I've also had some fictional. If anyone's watched Borgen, the Danish Prime Minister, I loved her. She was my role model for a while. I was kind of grasping at straws, but she rocked. Anybody else? Yes?
I think it's about breaking the boundaries because
Sorry, can you just, have we got a mic or something? I don't know, just...
I can do.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly. I mean, I can put some volume on. So I think it's about breaking the boundaries because for the decades, the supply chain, it was really male-driven industry, and it's like about logistics, it's about transport, it's something interesting. Let me put it this way, about boring analytics. So all the things.
Love boring analytics, yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, I love it. I try to convince some of our trainees that it's a great place to be. It's a
Yeah.
great place to work. You can change the world. You can really see it changing. So come on, let's join us and we will do it. So
Look at you role modelling.
okay, I'm on the age I can be already. Yes. So yeah, so it's. I think it's about just like breaking the boundaries really, and just talking about it. It's great. It's nice. It's good to do. Thank you.
Oh, nice. Yes, go.
Full-time jobs, I guess.
Sorry?
A lot of full-time jobs, whereas women tend to take care of the children of their parents when parents grow older.
It's the unpaid caring. God, I'm loud, aren't I? Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you.
Imposter syndrome and where the responsibility lies.
Yeah. Has anyone else ever had imposter syndrome? Just show of hands. Yeah. Sorry, yes.
A bit of an open door with leadership, and it's a bit connected to culture. And what I mean is to create an environment where everybody at least can express themselves.
Absolutely. It's creating that leading from above and saying, yeah, I'm myself, you go be yourself. So important. Anybody else? There were lots of, anyone at the back? Did I see a hand up? Yes, hi.
I think it's women, there's a lot of self-doubtness versus men. So there's a lot of self-doubtness that you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
If you have to apply for a role or ask for a higher salary versus men, there's a lot of self-doubt as women.
Lack of confidence, yeah, absolutely. Great one. Anyone else? I love it. I should have been making notes. Erin, I should have asked you to make notes, please. Anybody else got any they want to add to that? No, but that was a great long list, and I've got to say, I can't remember an awful lot of that. I think a couple of you said culture, but you've got role models and self-doubt and imposter syndrome. There's so much there. And again, I'm going to take you back to the research. The single biggest barrier is, as a couple of you said, it's lack of support from senior leaders. Single biggest thing. If you get senior leadership on board, if your exec board is on board with this, it will happen. You can have grassroots movements and you can have great pockets in an organisation, but it can't be all pervasive unless the people at the top have had that. And I call it, I've spoken to a lot of men about this, and and it does tend to be a lot of men sit at the top of a company. It's just the way it is. And they say they have this aha moment when it's like, the penny's dropped. They see it. It's like, oh, that's what you're all talking about. And that's such a powerful moment. And we try and get men to talk about that on Boom. We had a great session with male allies, and each man said the moment the penny dropped, and they was like, right, I see it. I see what you're up against. Let me support you. Let me do everything in my power to help you. And it's lovely. But, I mean, I'll give you a moment just to read through there, because it's annoying. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. You're going to say, yes, we'll do it, but then undermine it. Little insidious put-downs. And it's like, it frustrates me because this is in everyone's best interests. Who was I talking to the other day? They were saying, like a lot of men feel very threatened by talk about gender equality, and they say that it's gone too far. It's gone too far, and you ask a bit more, and they say, well, there's less opportunities for me, and I'm scared that there's less opportunity. But the business case shows that if you go for gender equality, it's not that there's just this much pie to go around. The pie gets bigger. And you could actually even end up having a bigger slice with gender equality, with diversity, equity, inclusion. So it's just education. It's just explaining. It's like nobody has to lose. Absolutely everyone wins from this. It's such a win-win. And yeah, there's research showing that it's good for the people working. I mean, it's physically good. They've got better health, less sick days. It's better society because the people live longer and they need less healthcare. So there's so much research saying, creating a lovely inclusive culture where people want to be because they can be themselves. It's incredibly powerful. Sorry, I get overexcited doing this stuff. So, okay, next question for you all. How am I doing for time? Because I can't see a clock. Anyone? Oh, okay, I'm really running behind. Never mind. So yeah, what have been the most successful initiatives in your organisations? Erin, could you take some? Thank you. What's worked for you? Has there been anything, or even a single moment where you felt included, or a company-wide initiative? Is there anything, and I'm putting this to the men as well, there might be something that suddenly made you feel more included. There was some initiative that worked for you, be it like suddenly you got better parental leave or something. Anyone?
We did at our company actually an active program for younger women. In this case, it was about women in careers to link them to more senior females.
Oh, nice.
Just to how do you balance work and raising children or whatever. So coaching, I would say, coaching is a job.
And it's also getting senior leadership gets to know the younger people as well and go, oh, she's good. You get a bit of sponsorship and mentorship coming out of that. That's a great initiative. Anybody else? Hello. Yeah, you need more men. Sorry, we want equality here.
But in the end, in more senior level and in the boards, there was no men. No women, sorry, only men.
That's,
There was really
yeah.
there. So in the end, the company was taken over by an American company, listed company, and their diversity was important. So the CEO mentioned that we should have a kind of female program to make sure that female people rise also to the senior level.
So it's that senior leadership, getting them from the middle, let's get them up to the very top. Love it. Surprising that American company came in and changed. Sorry, that's my own prejudice and bias showing there. Sorry. I'm not perfect. Anybody else? Anyone got some good initiatives? Yes, hello. Sorry, I just speak up a little bit. I can't hear you.
whatever. Thank you. You have the Women's Success Network, so it's built up from the employees themselves, and they lead that.
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, the ESGs that go across that recognise that there are so many diverse groups.
You have business sponsors or managers sponsors who are also involved.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm going to move us on just because I know we're probably out of time and I don't want to keep you from another coffee. But so, again, like my research, I was asked, what are the top initiatives to do? And again, not so much research, but this I found from Bain and the consultancy firm. And these are the top 10 initiatives that really make a difference, because there are so many initiatives out there, loads and loads. And Bain did the research and showed, no, these are the top 10. These are the ones that you really need to target. And look at the number one, going back to my point earlier, C-suite commitment to D&I. It's just got to be there. And it comes back to this time and time again. We got time for one more question? Oh, hello.
Question on 7 actually. Why is it voluntary and not? I would assume, maybe also based on biases, that it's only people that are already associating with the topic that would join these instead of the ones where it might be a bit more necessary.
Totally get what you're saying. Yes, so if you didn't hear, it's like, why is at number 7, is it voluntary D&I? So that D&I is the training is a whole different conversation for another presentation, but they've shown that, one-off D&I training, it's very much a tick box exercise. It's about compliance. And people forced to turn up, it tends not to go as well, they found, as with, if you keep doing it, and it's an ongoing thing, and it gets some momentum, and the people who want to be there are actually there, and they keep going, and they take what they've learnt, allyship or whatever it is, and they take it back to the teams, and it spreads out. And it spreads out a bit further, and then if more people come along, and then the people who were like, what is this rubbish he's talking about? Oh, he's talking about, go, oh, maybe. So they've just found that seems to work better than having it mandatory. But, I mean, it is, to get it right is tough, but when you get it right, and it is mandatory, but you have to create that psychological safety so that people in the room can go, I've got a really stupid question, and feel safe saying that, because I feel very vulnerable in sort of D&I training, because I go, I'm going to say the wrong thing. And I work in this space, and I say the wrong thing all the time, but it's a continuous journey. I will never stop learning about diversity, equity, inclusion, because the norms are changing. Neurodiversity wasn't even on the radar until fairly recently, and now it's all over the place. And happily, who knows what's next, but it's going to bring everybody in, everybody together. Can I do one last question? Okay. Do you think that your organisation understands the value of diversity, of diverse, equitable, and inclusive culture? There's a net there. I see you nodding.
We've our company, we work for the same company, they definitely leave like this standard. There's clear KPI, there's an intention on the way they hire people. We have mentorship, we have a lot of program around this. And our CEO is very open about this. He say, I have 5 daughters, and I want them to have the same chance than all the employees that we have in the company. And he talks himself about all the benefits that this diversity, not only women, but as well like gender and
Sexuality, race, whatever it is, yes.
he's bringing to the company. So we have it in all the meetings on a regular basis. So we live like this.
I love it. Okay, I need to speak to you. I want to know where you work. we can do some case studies. Anybody else? Anyone else think that their company's doing it really well, that you can feel that culture? And if so, how do you feel it? Hello. Yeah, you.
I work at the Carpenters. We've just got a new CEO.
Ah, yes.
And he's joined, I think, a month ago. But he's come in, and every town hall has been about, this is what I want to do, and has also kind of quite acknowledged things. So he recently showed a slide about the board and goes, it's very white, need to change this. I'm just going to mention it because we can all see it, everybody's thinking it. And we've just launched a employee kind of program to join the board as well, to kind of make that more diverse. So I think it's starting, and I guess, yeah, it starts at the top.
How does it make you feel about working there, though? Do you feel more excited about going to work? I mean, Carbon Trust's pretty cool anyway, but...
It is pretty cool. Yeah, it's very promising, and I mean, I hope he continues to walk the talk and it goes beyond.
Because it's lovely to see, isn't it? It's like, oh, he gets it and he cares. And he wants me to have everything I need to be able to do my job really, really well, because that's the bottom line. Have we got anybody else? Because then I should probably end, because I know we've run over. Anyone? All right, well, thank you, everyone. I think, yeah, innovation, bringing it back right to the beginning. You get all of that D&I in place, it brings us back to greater diversity of thoughts, brings greater innovation, which brings amazing solutions which can address the climate crisis, bringing it all full circle. All right, thank you, everyone. Thanks.
I'm coming. So thank you so much for this very inspiring talk. So we still have some time for questions.
Do we? I thought we only had half an hour.
Sorry?
I thought we'd run out of time. Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have time for questions, please.
Melanie, I have a question for you. As senior manager in the organization earlier on, the company was very proud to show statistics, and here she's an example of, she's in the leadership team, and I couldn't help but think, like, why am I here? Am I here because I'm good at my job, or just because I happen to be female? So
it's a tough one.
It's really a tight line between those two. And you have any thoughts on how to position yourself as a minority or whatever you are in that? You want to be valued for what you do, not of who you are.
Not based on your gender, which is ironic, really, at the same time, isn't it? It's completely ironic. It's a really tough one because, with targets, the EU's bringing in targets for C-suites coming in, I think, in a couple of years. And it's like, we need to get more women up. And the question is that woman there, the people on the C-suite, she's only there to hit the targets, versus actually she's bloody good and she would have been overlooked if we didn't have this target. I think it's a question of time. It's just like we're in this time of turmoil at the moment. Everything is changing, but I think it's going to settle down. It's something I can point you at later. But we're in that turbulent time, that people are feeling threatened and unsure about what increased diversity, increased gender equality brings. And I think as we get our heads around it, that will fall away, but it's just tough at the moment. I haven't got a silver bullet for you. I wish I did. I'm really sorry. It's just tough. And you are bloody good at your job, right? Of course you are. Of course you're bloody good at your job. So it's having the, tough it out. Yes?
Why do you think that so many men feel threatened by having women like her? Because it's quite often, perhaps it's a question for you, why do a lot of men feel threatened by women?
I do not feel threatened at all, by the way. So I think, if I may...
Of course.
Maybe it's a question also of education. When I was young, and I saw my mother going to work, and came back home and continued working, preparing the food, the laundry, etc. So I just couldn't stand that. So what I did myself, preparing food what I could, of course, and also doing laundry. So I think it's in my case, a totally question of the education at home and the values that people bring. If they see, and I also have other examples where the man sits and waits for things to come, then the kids could probably mirror this kind of attitude afterwards. So I think it's a lot to do with the education at home. So.
I had a really nice explanation for this. So the expression, when a boat's going down, women and children first? So the Titanic's going down, women and children first, so the men have to stay behind, and the women and children get on the boat. And what we're saying is, no, the men can come too. We don't have that privilege anymore. We need to give up that privilege, and that's kind of what we're asking men for. But we've got our own privileges, which we need to give up for the men. So it's like women and children first. That's got to be over, because it's really discriminating against the men. And I think when you think, it's like, no, you know, if the boat was going down, I would want to get in that life raft. I'm really sorry, no, forget the men. You know, would I have the, would I have the bravery to go, oh no, fair enough, gender equality, I better do what I talk about. Do we want to give up? Do we want to give that up? And it's like, it's tough for us, I think, that one. It's like, I don't want to give up my seat in the boat, but actually, I think the men see it as that way, and I get that, and I like that analogy, if that helps at all. Yes?
Yeah, maybe on that, she already touched upon it. Yeah, thank you. I like your example of the Titanic as well. She touched upon diversity in the total setup. So ethnicity, religion, sex, everything, gender.
So much, yes.
I'm completely open to this. So yes, I'm a man, but I like to have these discussions. But maybe some of the resistance that you could have, that's something that I once experienced a couple of years ago. So we started a discussion. We wanted to be diverse. And then the focus was to start with a female program. And okay, if we want to be diverse, why don't we make one program where we include everything that we can come up with in order to make everybody part of society, especially in a multinational company? I was a bit surprised. I just said, okay, I like it. The build-up of the program is great. But why the focus here? Why are we not taking everything on board in one go? It's one program. It's as diverse as you can have it. And I think then the resistance goes down.
It's like any change management. I'd kind of run a pilot. I'm going back to my supply chain days. Run a pilot, start somewhere, because this is we get asked a lot, what do we need? We want to become more diverse. What should we do? And at Boom, we say, just start somewhere. Start with one. Start with your ESG for, I don't know, race. Fine, start there, because it has a habit of just, it expands. It's quite organically, it grows. And yes, start somewhere. If you try and do big bang, would you do that in business, big bang effect? It can be quite hard, and it's a lot of change. So in what I've seen, it seems to be better to go, start somewhere and head out, especially if you're starting from zero. But yeah, if you go big bang, let me know. I want to come see. I'm not, ooh, that might have been me.
That's something that we got more lift off when we included.
Did you? No. Okay, I want to talk to you afterwards too, please. I'd like doing, we do case studies, so if you've got a case study like that where it's worked really well, I'd love to know about it. Maybe we write it up.
Well, maybe also my daughter at home, her second job. At a certain point, she mentioned that if I should be chosen because I'm female, I don't want to have a job. I want to be chosen for my skills. And for me, that tells me everything. You should
I agree.
use skills.
I absolutely agree.
Well,
I think the only argument I'd have with this, and sorry, I'll come to you in a minute, just diversity of thought. Is it the best person for the job or for the best person for the team? And I've had that discussion a lot too. Because sometimes you need to have that diverse team, and it's like, maybe you do need a woman just because you've got all men, because it will bring something completely different. So
I agree with you there. I would not particularly look at the person, but the fit for the team,
yeah.
the total energy you get out of the whole.
But then would you say that that's kind of based on gender, but it's actually what you want? Gender is playing into what you're looking for. So yeah, that's the way I would sell it anyway. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, okay.
I'm still there on the wider picture, to be honest.
Sorry, you said, and then, yeah.
Just a bit relating to discussion there. We were having the discussion also with my management team, and when we said, okay, we go for diversity, I said, okay, but we need to slice the elephant, right? Because it's a big topic, and if you start doing or taking everything at once, you will not end up, I think, nowhere. And I'm absolutely with you as well, that's saying you want to have the best one for the job. It doesn't matter, man or woman, you want to have the best one for the job. But, here comes the but. Because I was doing also some of the researches, preparing it for our internal team. And then it seems to be when you're putting up the request or the job interview, women and men, they do react differently. So it means the text of the message.
Inclusive
really.
recruitment. Yeah, inclusive
Then
recruitment.
also the women, if we are, I'm looking at myself, I have quite a career behind my back, but if I was looking at the job description, I have this, I have this, I have this. This I don't have. Maybe next time. Really, if it will be a
Classic, it's
man,
an
I
absolute
mean,
classic,
I have
yeah.
my husband. Come on, we go. Let's go. Let's do it, and he will get your job. And also, if you look in northern countries, most of the positions are with the male, so it means it's just like arithmetically, right? If you have a job interview, take the 10 persons, and then it will be, no, we have seen like 60% is men in this area, 40% are women. The people who will react, it will be mostly men just because arithmetically, so they have more chances to be chosen. So we need to support women to start at least reacting for these job interviews, and then you have a different approach. So it's complex of measures here behind it, right? They are maybe not visible, but they are there. But yeah, sometimes it's also coming to the question, am I here because I'm bloody good, which I believe in, but okay, I can believe into that, or that because I'm a woman. That's or
if you've
female,
already
right?
got low confidence, as you know,
Exactly.
we've set up
So
there, it's
yeah,
not going,
that's
oh, they only want me 'cause of
exactly.
me.
So it's I think difficult issue, but because now it becomes very open, people talking about it, I think we'll get over it for sure. But it has to take some time.
And I think having a network around you, just one thing. No, we're out of time. There's a very sweet voice going, no. All right.
I kind of agree.
Oh, sorry, we've got one more.
I kind of agree with almost anything. Maybe it's related also to the type of business. My first, maybe that's the good news, I was the chief commercial officer of a big logistics company. When I started with the commercial team, 100% men, and when I left, 65% men and 35% women. One example, at least I started with that. I became the CEO of a waste management company, and there we have a lot of multicultural elements in there, on the trucks and whatever they did, sorting the waste. And when we had a discussion with the people on the floor, and we talked about diversity, and in this case we start with a female program, there were many responses coming out of my collection team, but okay, I'm already for a couple of years in the Netherlands and I'm still there. So maybe it's also connected to the type of business. And
Yeah.
I believe that you have to pick it up a little bit wider, that you have to make a start somewhere, I agree. But it should not have too much focus on only that. At least explain what the length of the program is and take care that your management can deal with it. Because you don't want to have the discussion that you start on the left and that somebody else on the right that also needs priority at a certain point, that they feel excluded. And that was one experience that I had. But I agree with you there.
All right, last question, because I'm so over.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a question as much as a reaction on him being hired for being the best. It all depends on who determines what is the criteria of best. If it's the current people leading, yeah, you might be hired for being a woman, a person of color, and so on and so forth. So I guess that would be my point. Who determines what's best?
Yeah, I like it. And and that we can talk about what defines a leader. It's the same sort of argument. That is changing. So, right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you all. Great input. I'm so excited. Thank you.